right, next section, skeletal organization. So actually getting to naming the actual bones. Skeleton, there's two main parts to your skeleton. So the axis, main part. Axial skeleton consists of the bony part, the cartilaginous parts that support and protect the head, neck, and trunk. So axis means center, central, main part. Skull, your head, is going to be part of the axial skeleton. Hyoid bone, which is another bone that's not really, it doesn't have a joint. It supports your tongue, it helps with swallowing. Vertebral column and your thoracic cage. So in your skeleton, axial is just the main part. Head, vertebrae, and it does include your thoracic cage. It includes the ribs. It does not include your scapula, your collarbone. So it's just the central main part of the skeleton. Appendicular skeleton then deals with appendages. So arms, legs, your pelvic girdle will actually be part of that. So they are going to be bones that are attached or appendages to the axial skeleton. Pectoral deals with upper chest area. So clavicle scapula is your pectoral girdle. Upper limbs, your arms. Pelvic girdle, so your pelvis is not part of your axial skeleton. It ends, the axial skeleton ends at the bottom of your vertebrae. Pelvis is part of your appendages. And then your lower limbs, your legs, all the parts of your legs will be part of the appendicular skeleton. Parts. This is a practice. So cranium and the face together make up the skull. Hyoid bone, most of your classroom skeletons don't even have that on there. But like I said, it supports your tongue. Clavicle, collarbone. So, and that is the most broken bone in the entire body. Your clavicle is wedged. If I get hit in the arm, my arm can flop. There's room for movement. The clavicle is really wedged in between the scapula and the sternum. Plus, it's not very big. The clavicle is the most broken bone, most commonly broken bone in the human body. Sternum, breastbone, scapula, shoulder blade, humerus, upper arm bone, which I've often wondered why. Your funny bone, your elbow. Your elbow is not part of your humerus. Your elbow will be part of your ulna, and we'll look at that later. So on your arms, easy way to remember, radius bone is going to be on the thumb side. So I can see here's the thumb side of the skeleton, this is the radius. Pinky side is the ulna. Hip bones, carpals are going to be little wrist bones, and you can kind of feel those down below here. And then metatarsals are actually bones in your hand. So if I bring this out, really this here would be my fingers. So my fingers would be from here to here. These long bones are the bones that are found inside of your hand. And you don't really think of them being really that long and shaped like that. And then your carpals are the tiny little bones of your wrist. Oh, there we go. What else? Same thing with your feet. Phalanges are your fingers and your toes. So fingers and toes are phalanges. Tarsals deal with your small feet bones. And then metatarsals are the long feet bones. If I start looking at your vertebral column, which we'll actually break down later, you can see that it starts way up here, goes down to your tailbone. Sacrum is going to be these fused vertebrae that they're fused together. And then the coccyx is just the little tailbone part way down at the bottom. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 fused vertebrae that make up the sacrum, and then the coccyx is just the very bottom part of it.
He has a
And
long spine.
what?
He has a long spine.
A long spine, yeah. Sometimes the spina bifida, sometimes there will be an opening when a person is born and part of the spine might stick out.
That's with the tail.
Yeah, it's like a tail part. These bones, for sure, you will be responsible for knowing all of those bones. And then here the table just breaks it down. It does show how you get to 206 bones. The human skeleton has 206 bones. So if I look just at my skull, there's 22 bones that make up my head or skull. Middle ear bones. Here I can look at my vertebrae, 26 bones. So total 206 bones. You'll memorize most of these, because really, your metacarpals, there's 10, so you'll know those. You'll know pretty much most of these. The face bones I probably don't get as in depth with as the rest. And that's where we'll stop. And next time we'll get into all the bones of the skull. And that's probably the hardest. The skull might be the hardest one.